Okay, folks, we're going to get started with our council meeting for the Tuesday, March the 23rd. It is now just after 5 p.m. and in camera went a little bit long for those of you wondering why we're starting a little bit late. So as is traditional, we're going to start off with the singing of O Canada. So I'll read the background, and then if everybody could or would like to stand. So our singer, now this is going to be a recorded performance. It's ANMI vocal music class. The vocal class is led by Giancarlo Feltrin. Due to the pandemic, singing and in-class rehearsals have been put on hold. However, with some creativity and the use of music production software, this recording was possible. Students have been rehearsing and collaborating remotely in a virtual space. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. This class has students from grades 9 through 12. With the tools of technology at their disposal, they're still able to cover the curriculum and make music safely. This evening, they're going to demonstrate the amazing vocal talent at A.N. Meyer as they present the National Anthem. So, Mr. Clerk, Sean, whenever you're ready, and we can stand.
Oh, Canada. Our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see the Christ, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. We are free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Wow, that was very well done.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I had chills. So congratulations to the A.N. Meyer vocal music class and to Giancarlo Feltrin for leading the group in singing O Canada. That was just amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Hey, Jim,
Yes, Councillor Campbell.
for what it's worth, I went to Meyer, and so did you.
Yes, I did.
Where
I
did
did.
Ken Todd go?
He went, where did he go now? I can't remember.
Okay, stop it. All right, you can stop it now, both of you. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Wayne. I appreciate getting reminded. So moving along, we're looking for the council minutes of March 2nd, 2021. Moved by Councillor Strange, second by Councillor Campbell. We'll call the vote to receive the minutes. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Any disclosures of a pecuniary interest? Councillor Kerrio and Lococo.
Thank you, Worship. MW 2021-17, Victoria Avenue, Walnut, removal of the turn prohibitions. It's very close to one of my properties. And number 8.2, as it relates to dining limits, and I've already handed my written copy into the clerk.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor. Councillor Lococo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the agenda, 6.6, the zoning amendment for the transit station secondary plan. I own property in the area, and there's also 9.1 on the agenda, which is the resolution of the transit station area secondary plan and the bylaw that goes with that, bylaw 2021-40, to rezone those lands. And then I also have a conflict on 8.10 for the Downtown BIA, my spouse former employment, and an in-camera added item, the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Any other disclosures? Okay, seeing none, we'll get on to the mayor's announcements. First off with obituaries. Ron Canavan passed away, the brother-in-law of Wendy Canavan of our business development department, and also Jim Moody, the father of Dan Moody, our former sergeant at arms. And also Dan is the vice chair of the Catholic School Board. The 1-year anniversary of the first COVID case in Niagara took place. And I think on screen, do we have something? The flags have been lowered to half staff on Friday, March 12th at all municipalities across Niagara, all 12 city halls. We acknowledged Niagara's loss. COVID-19 had claimed at that point 374 residents. All the Niagara mayors and regional chair did an open letter to residents, and the impact has been through collective mental health of our community. It's been profound. Suicides have been up significantly, domestic violence as well, and so has mental health resources, maxed right out. There's been major impact to our economy, many losing their jobs, businesses closing, unfortunately forever, and thousands of workers, especially in tourism, still out of work. So it's hit us in many, many ways. However, there's many stories of resilience in our community, stories of people coming together and helping each other, checking on each other to make sure they're fine, mentally that they're okay, that they have their groceries if they need it, they need help shoveling, any kind of things that they need, that we come together and help each other. And the fact that there's light at the end of the tunnel isn't lost on us. We've had a very, very successful vaccination program, and our fire chief, Chief Boudelier, is going to be speaking about it a little bit later tonight, and he's going to give the community an update on what we've been doing and the successes that we've had. It's been a great rollout, and people should be very happy and proud of the way we've handled things with our vaccinations. Yet we still have to be vigilant. We're not over. We're not through this yet. We're on our way to the finish line, but we're not there yet. So we need to continue to be safe, keep your distance, wear your mask, keep washing your hands and sanitizing, and be respectful of others. We know it's been hard. A lot of people under a lot of stress, but we need to be patient with each other and kind. I'm not going to get into too much around the McBain Center because the chief's going to be covering that. I'll go right to our hometown hero recognition. One of our city crossing guards, Mr. Fred Winston, was recently honored as a hometown hero. I'd like to thank Sherry Hawkins and her team at Mainly Niagara for starting the Hometown Hero program in our community. It's a place where we can recognize people for making a difference in the lives of others, as well as spreading kindness. Fred, a little background on Fred. So I had the honor of meeting him in his driveway. He's a fixture at the corner of Lundy's Lane and Dorchester Road. And he's been smiling and waving and making people's days for 8 years. He has a passion for doing his job well and ensuring the students' safety. We presented him with a small gift to recognize his contributions and for him helping to make our community a better place. So maybe we could ask our IT guys if they would. Sean, if you could play the video.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, good. So Fred Winston, hometown hero, well known in this city, one of our great crossing guards, and you impact so many people's lives every day in the things you do that you're aware of and the things that you do you're maybe not so aware of. The fact that everybody's been struggling during COVID, people are sad, they're anxious, they're depressed, they're angry, they're whatever they are, and they're looking for a glimmer of hope. They're looking for a little tulip or a little locust to bloom. They're looking for some sunshine. They're looking for some good news. And when they see you, I think sunshine, because you're bringing sunshine and love and hope just by waving with a big smile. And even though you got a mask, you can tell when someone smiles.
Yes.
Like they say, smile with your eyes. So Fred, you smile with your eyes. Got a big wave to everybody going by. The kids love you. The parents love you. The people just driving by love you. And as one of our hometown heroes, we do this Love Niagara Falls little gift that we're going to do to recognize you. And I want you to know, all of City Council, all the cities, we're proud to call you one of our hometown heroes. It's a very small token of our appreciation. And we know you don't do it for that reason, but we just the same want to recognize we need more Fred Winstons in this world to make this city a better place. And I'm proud to be able to be here today to present this to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a few words for us, Fred?
Like I just said, I like to start my kids off with a smile in the morning. That's the best thing I can do for them. And if I can do that, then I'm happy. And this is why I took the job. So, thank you very much. I appreciate the gift. And I'll treasure it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure. Thank
You're muted, Jim.
Sorry about that. I clicked it. It didn't unmute. So thank you to you, Fred, and to your colleagues who do a great job every day and for continuing to make us proud. Also, I should point out Earth Hour this Saturday, March the 27th from 8:30 until 9:30 p.m. will be Earth Hour. Lights on the falls will be dark in support. So we're encouraging everyone for that 1 hour to turn off their lights and any non-essential electricity. Like to wish happy Easter to everyone for Monday, April the 5th. Spring break, the change date will now be April the 12th through the 16th. So remember, there may be extra kids out on the street at that time. And the next city council meeting will be Tuesday, April the 20th. And that ends council notes. So we're going to move along to the reports portion of the agenda. So item 6.1, statement of remuneration and expenses for council and commissions. So if there were any comments, and if not, then we would receive the report. Councillor Thompson?
Move the report.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Lococo, second?
I'll second it, but I wanted to make a comment. I've seen
Yes.
it in other communities where the council had a gift register. Some communities do $200, some communities do $300, and the register keeps track of any gifts that you receive throughout the year, and then it's added to this type of report. I'd like to put a motion forward that the city of Niagara Falls does the same thing. I'll put it out there for what the amount is, 200, 300, any other ideas?
Maybe we send it back to staff for a report back rather than just making a motion on the fly. Why don't we send it back to staff and we'll come back and do some research, Councillor Lococo, and then we can put something forward with a little bit of research behind it.
That would be fine. Thank you.
Can we get a second on that? Okay, second by Councillor Strange. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, that's approved. Thank you for that. And also, so how did we, Mr. Clerk, so we just moved the motion. We had two motions going at once, didn't we? We just moved the one, yeah, sorry, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, through you, your worship, what we'll do there is we'll just list for the minutes of the meeting that the recommendation in the report be moved, but to also ask staff to report back on including a possible gift register for any future statement of remuneration reports.
That's great. Thank you for that. Item 6.2, Next Generation 911 and 40 Consolidated Dispatch. We've got three recommendations on the report. Is there any discussion to it, or would we like to move the report? Motion by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Kerrio, that we move the three recommendations. If there's no discussion to that, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. We getting a little bit echo there?
Yeah, I hear it on this end.
Lots of echo.
Okay, Sean says we should be good now.
You are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, item 6.3, Government of Ontario Fire Safety Grant Program. There's a recommendation that the report and support the Niagara Falls Fire Department application under the Ontario Fire Safety Grant Program.
Move the recommendation.
Motion by Councillor Pietrangelo. Councillor Campbell, are you just adjusting? Are you okay? Seconded by Councillor Campbell. If there's no discussion to that, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, thank you for that. Item 6.4. Yes, Mr. Clerk.
As you had mentioned in your announcements, we were thinking of having our fire chief give us a verbal update on the vaccinations that have been taking place in the city. And since we just covered a couple of fire reports, it might be an appropriate time for him to give that verbal update at this time.
All right, that sounds good. Chief, are you there? Chief Boudelier.
I am, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great. Well, the floor is yours. So if you want to share your screen and give us an update on the vaccination report, that would be terrific.
I assume everybody can see this?
Yep.
Okay, so to you, Mr. Mayor, to the council. So obviously we've been working very hard with regards to the COVID-19 vaccination program. And I just want to do a few slides, go through a few. So there has been in Ontario 4 vaccines that have been approved now through Canada and Ontario. The Pfizer, the Moderna, which are both very similar in the fact that it's 2 doses and the 21 days up to 4 months apart. The efficiency is 95% of being against COVID-19 and protected. It is a relatively unstable product in the fact that it needs to be kept frozen at different temperatures. The Pfizer is about minus 80 degrees, and the Moderna is more of a freezer temperature. That creates difficulty in moving the product. Once it's unthawed and put into the syringes, then it can't be moved any further. So it gives us some logistics around how we're going to do those issues of administering it. The other one that we've had is Astrazeneca. There's been a lot of conversation in the media about Astrazeneca, and the latest information from Astrazeneca is the fact that it can be administered to anybody from 16 years of age to 100 plus years of age. There was some concerns early on about the over 65, but that's been cleaned up. And the other one that's approved now is the Janssen Johnson & Johnson, which is the only one at this point that's a 1-dose vaccine. And I'd like to point out too that the Astrazeneca in my slide it's showing 60% efficiency, and that has also increased to around 70% now. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the public and the council that it comes down to get the first shot that you're offered, regardless of what vaccine it is. Don't wait. If you're going to get it, and move on from there. What's happening now in order for us to get more vaccines into arms, the government and the National Advisory Committee has extended our interval between first dose and second dose to 4 months. So that came about on March the 10th. Anybody that had received their second dose before March the 10th, that's good. Anybody that was about to receive their second dose after March the 10th is now being rescheduled to be 4 months out. Again, this is primarily in order for us to get more vaccines into arms and get more people protected. As I said, 95% of the people after the first dose have immunity to the COVID-19, which is incredible numbers. So we want to get as many as we can. The provincial protocol shows that we are starting to move into phase 2, which gives us about approximately 8.5 million people. This is where we start into our age brackets, beginning with the 80 and over, and then we will decrease every 5 years from there. We've just announced Monday went live on the provincial portal to register for 75 to 79, as well as the 80 and over. And we've been fortunate in our region, we have about 3% of the 80 and over that are still needing to register for the vaccine or are waiting to get the vaccine. As well, late this afternoon, I was informed that the 75 to 79-year-olds, we have 40% of those in that age bracket are registered or have already received their first dose, which is great news to hear today. The other areas that we're moving to is obviously the high-risk congregate settings, shelters, community living, the homeless. They're doing those. Then we're going to go to frontline essential workers, individuals with high-risk chronic conditions and caregivers, and then other populations, communities that are facing barriers related to the health across Ontario. Frontline essential workers is a really, really big group. It includes first responders, teachers, education staff, food processing industry, grocery people, people that work in the grocery industry, people that work in the bars and restaurants. You've heard that today by Premier Ford or yesterday. That group is going to be prioritized in order by the regional task force on the numbers and how we slot them in depending on the risk that they're at. Further things, the community has been directed to deliver community-based mass evacuation or mass vaccination clinics, which we will talk about in a moment. They're also doing a primary care provider pilot program whereby doctors and their staff are going out and visiting different congregate settings. Like an example for our area would be Stamford Estates here in Niagara Falls. They would go there and take care of the individuals that can't make it to a clinic. As well, the province is doing a pharmacist pilot right now in the Toronto, Kingston area. They have about 170 pharmacies that are administering the vaccine at the moment, all Astrazeneca due to the delivery and the ability to move that around. And then in the next week to 10 days, they're hoping to ramp that up to 350 pharmacies across the province, and then up to 700 within the next month. And of course, the Niagara region will be included in that group at one point or the other. Regardless of the vaccine, if you've received it or not, public health measures are still in effect. We still need to wear our masks. We still need the physical distance. We still need to hand sanitize. It's critical to do that. That's not going away anytime soon. I've talked about the expanding of the pharmacies and the primary care. Very fortunate to have this up and running. It'll be soon to coming to our region to get this going as well. Just be patient on this. Mass immunization clinics. 34 public health units are planning these to roll out across the province in the next few weeks. The Niagara region rolled theirs out on the 18th of March. And that was at our McBain Center. And as you can see by these two pictures, you come in the one on the right, you would come into the front door, you'd be screened by the screeners, and then you would walk to the tables, and at that point you would be registered, ask for your information, and you need to make sure that you have your health card with you. It's very important that you have your health card, because not only do you need the information on the front of the health card, but you also need the information on the back of the health card. Once you come through there, then you would queue up in the line down past, if you've been to the McBain, where the racquetball courts are and the squash courts, which is on the right-hand side of picture number 2 on the left. And you would come in the end, and somebody would greet you and send you to a table between 1 and 20. We have 20 nurses that are giving the vaccine, and then you would receive your vaccine and then ask to sit in one of the chairs in the middle, wait for your 15 minutes to make sure that there's no side effects. And then you would go to the end of the room, which is at the top of the picture, to check out, whereby you would get your little piece of paper that would tell you the date to come back, as well as it would give you the information of the vaccine that you received, the lot number, the type of vaccine, whether it was Moderna or Pfizer. Over the past 5 days, the McBain Center has been administering both Moderna and Pfizer, and they've administered roughly 3,200 doses in the last 5 days at McBain. The province started with a registration of the Provincial Portal. The first that went live was on the 15th of March for the 80 and over age group. The target was April the 15th for the 75-year-olds and above, but we've been doing such a great job across the province and in our region especially. That date was changed to last Monday, March the 22nd. So we have the 75-year-olds and older going, along with the 80 and over, along with some very healthcare workers such as police, fire, EMS, nurses, doctors, dentists, everybody that's dealing with patients on a one-on-one basis have also been sent to get their vaccine. The tentative date at the moment is May the 1st for the 70s and over, and I would hazard a guess and throw it out there that we'll definitely be going early on that one. And then June the 1st is for the 65-year-olds and over. And again, I would say we're going to be going earlier on that one. All of my little predictions, I'll have to caveat by saying it's dependent on us getting the vaccine, which is coming at a steady pace, but it could be coming quicker. Niagara Falls Clinic at the McBain is now closed after today. Public Health is going to do rotating clinics across the region to ensure that everybody across the region has a vaccination clinic in their community at least once. So the next stop is in Welland tomorrow. They'll be at the YMCA in Welland for 3 days, and then Grimsby YMCA. Fort Erie will be the Leisureplex. Niagara-on-the-Lake will be the community center. Waynfleet will be the firefighters community hall. West Lincoln will be the community center. St. Catharines and Thorold is a joint one, and that'll be at Brock. Lincoln is the community center. Port Colborne, I do not have at this point. Pelham will be at the MCC. And I have to remind you that if you go to book online, pick the earliest time and date and the location you can get to. So just because it's not in Niagara Falls and you live in Niagara Falls, you can certainly book in Welland or any other 11 municipalities so that you can get the vaccine. Mr. Mayor, going on from that, to date, we've done about 54,000 vaccines to the people in our region, just over 10% of our population. Public health has administered around 17,000, which includes our long-term care, our high-risk homes, our McBain Center, etc. And the Niagara Health System, which is at the Seymour Hanna location, has administered approximately 36,000, and about 3,000 of those are for second doses. So we're doing a great job. Obviously, we could be doing a lot better, but again, that's all dependent on us getting the vaccine. The province put out a portal, a provincial portal, whereby everybody can register. They did a pilot for the first 2 weeks of March, and then they went live on March the 15th, and it's been up and running ever since. There was a few glitches in it with regards to the McBain Center. It was overbooking the vaccines at one point, but that was good. It was rather be double booked than not booked at all, to be quite honest. Then what happens is when you go into the portal itself, these are the screens that you will see. And as I said, you need to have your health card if you're doing it for somebody else or if you're doing it for yourself, because you need the number that's on the front as well as you need the number on the back. With the booking portal, the other thing that's important to note is if you are someone that does not have a computer, can't get on the internet, don't know how to work a computer, if you contact the City of Niagara Falls and go through the clerk's department, they will direct you to a staff member who will be willing to assist you in booking your vaccine so that we can ensure that all of our members of our community get their vaccine at the appropriate time. And to just go back to the vaccine clinic for 1 second, it's taking around 87 of our staff, and when I say our staff, I'm talking public health, nurses, public health administration, public health bylaw, city IT, Niagara Region IT, city staff. We have our municipal works, our arena staff that we've redeployed, our Parks and Rec staff doing the cleaning and disinfecting of all the chairs, as well as our firefighters are there to make sure that everybody's safe and can have a great experience going through the clinic. The last thing is just a quick question and answer. Some of the questions that I've been fielding from the public. Yes, regional public health units are moving at different paces. That's all dependent on the availability of the COVID-19 vaccine. It also depends on what portal they're using. Some public healths have their own portal, and ours has the region or the provincial one. The vaccines are going quickly as we receive them. As soon as we get them into the freezers and they're delivered, Niagara Health Systems and the public health are pushing them out as quick as possible. So we're not holding on to them. Those rumors are not true. They're getting into arms as fast as possible. The mandate of the task force, the mandate of public health, and everybody involved in this vaccine is the more arms we can get, the quicker, the better. During phase one, the provincial vaccine framework, Niagara has seen more vaccine doses administered per capita than the provincial average. So that speaks volumes to what we're doing here in the Niagara region. And just so you're aware, we're doing more vaccines per capita in Niagara than anywhere in Ontario, and Ontario is doing more vaccines than anywhere in Canada. So I would tend to say that our region is leading the country right now and getting the vaccines into arms. Be rest assured that no one is being pushed aside for another group. So we talk about the different groups that are going to go. A lot of them are going concurrently. There's a lot of spaces. We want to make sure that every appointment is full. There's no open spots, so we're sending concurrent groups through to ensure that it runs smoothly, as well as it's all filled up. How does that been decided? Well, basically the provincial science table, along with the provincial public health command table, decides and directs the local public health units on what order vaccines shall be rolled out in. They do it in a very broad context, and then the regional task force that's working with public health then sits down and tries to delineate what that group looks like. So if you take essential workers as an example, that's a large group that we're trying to put in some type of a prioritization order that puts the ones that are at the highest risk out there first, and then getting through each of them as quickly as we can. Keeping in mind, everybody's going to get their vaccine. We just need to be patient. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I have concluded my presentation.
That's great, Chief. Any questions for the Chief of Council? Councillor Pietrangelo, then Kerrio.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Just through you to the Chief. Chief, did I hear you say that the Niagara average per capita is higher than the provincial average in terms of vaccination rates?
That's correct.
Your Worship, that's a good news story, in my opinion. Something that we really should be putting that message out there. I guess I send my thanks to the Chief and our staff, but also to Niagara Health and Public Health Niagara.
I'd echo that, Councillor Pietrangelo. We're doing a great job here. It's been a very good news story how we've been able to roll out the vaccines here. And as the Chief points out, we're way ahead of where anyone ever expected us to be. First of all, they didn't expect vaccines this quick. Then we didn't expect it to get rolled out as fast. And we're lucky that we got you, Chief. You're doing a terrific job at being our eyes, ears, and boots on the ground to make sure everything gets done. So that's why I guess we call you Boots. I'm not really sure. Wouldn't be because it's Boudelier, would it? So thank you for that, Councillor Pietrangelo. Councillor Kerrio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you very much, Chief. You and all your staff. That's a great story. A quick question, one that's been asked me by quite a few people. So is this something we can expect to do or to have to do on a yearly basis, like the flu vaccine? Have you talked about that at all? Can you share anything about that? Is this something we're going to have to get used to every year, getting a vaccine for COVID?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Kerrio, no, we have not had that discussions at this point. I'm not sure at this time.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Yeah, Councillor Strange.
Yeah, I would just like to congratulate Jim and his team for doing a great job. I've heard from a few people, and including my aunt and uncle, who went through the McBain Center and very efficient and didn't have to wait long. So I think it's very important, especially for the older folks, to put their mind at ease. It's been a really, really tough year for everyone. People haven't been able to see their grandchildren, some of their family and kids getting together for traditions like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we're kind of seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. And great job, all of Niagara. I'm really proud.
Thank you for that. Okay, so Mr. Clerk.
Mayor, just before you go, I just want to reiterate that as much as I'm the one making the presentation, the team effort is huge. I mean, it's public health, the Niagara region, everybody at the table. The team is massive, and I just want to say thanks to everybody for being cooperative and allowing us to get this up and running as quick as we did.
Thank you. So how about a motion to receive the Chief's report? Moved by Councillor Strange, second by Councillor Thompson. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. All right, moving on to item 6.4, Children's Memorial Walkway. There's two recommendations. The direction of council. Councillor Pietrangelo and Councillor Campbell. And Councillor Pietrangelo, did you want to speak to this report? You've been
Your Worship, I'd be happy to move it, but I also want to thank the people involved. We've had a couple of meetings on this. Staff have been wonderful, along with the Stamford Center Volunteer Firemen's Association. They're very much looking forward to receiving this. They're wonderful stewards of the park that we have there, and I have no doubt that they're going to be wonderful stewards of this as well. We've also had some families that have expressed interest in doing some fundraising. so that there can be some instant amenities at this Memorial Gardens when we finally open it. So I think it's going to be something that's wonderful, Your Worship. I think it's going to be a great space for people who have lost one of their children to come to. And I think it's also going to be a meeting place for different parents that have, that find themselves in the same place. So I'm happy to move the motion, Your Worship, and I look forward to next year when we're finally able to open it.
Councillor Pietrangelo, did you want to real quickly give an overview for the viewers at home that are not exactly sure what it is that we're supporting, and just let them know real quickly what it is?
Yeah, sure. So it's a memorial garden, Your Worship, for anyone that has lost a child in their life. And the theme behind the memorial garden is going to be based on butterflies, really, but there's going to be all different kinds of amenities there. So if a parent has lost a child and they want to memorialize them or put something there in memoriam on their behalf, they can do different things, such as they can put a bench there, they can put a tree there, they can put a rock there, perhaps something else like a cross. They can plant different plants that will attract butterflies. So staff are going to come up with a list of different items that people will be able to put there in memoriam of their child. So it's going to be a nice place, and it's going to be at Fireman's Park. It'll be very visible in the sense that it's going to be on the corner of Dorchester and Mountain. It'll be accessible because, as you know, we just finished redoing the parking lot there at Fireman's Park. So it's going to be a wonderful space, Your Worship. You're muted.
Councillor Strange.
No. Thanks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, no, did you want to speak to it, Councillor Strange?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Councillor Campbell. I'll get you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Councillor Strange.
This whole thing came to fruition because we lost two of our young children and young heroes in Niagara Falls. We all know them as part of council, and coming to council and getting awarded, Julianne Misk and Alex Ludin, very, very special. And we wanted to do something for them and for their families, remember them and keep their legacy going, because both of them were such an inspiration. One Alex Ovechkin, who ended up winning the Stanley Cup, scoring goals for him. And it's like the old Babe Ruth story, and ended up winning the Stanley Cup and MVP and bringing the family to the parade in Washington. Just amazing. Then you have Julianne Misk, and her awards go forever, from riding her bike from Toronto for cancer and winning all the awards at the para division under Coach Pietrangelo. And we want to do something special. We got together with family and a bunch of groups, including yourself, Jim, and we started off from different things, and we all came together and gelled together and came up with this idea. And it is just amazing. And I'm very, very, very proud of what we are doing, and remembrance of not only them, but all children. It's not the right order of life to lose one, your child. And we don't want to be them to be forgotten. They're all very, very special, no matter how it happened either. And I'd just like to add to the recommendation that maybe as a group and their family, we know it's going to be in 2022. So maybe we can come up with some kind of day that, it might be a special day for Julianne or for Alex or for their family, and something that we can remember and choose Niagara Falls as that day to remember those children that we have lost. And we can meet every year there at Fireman's Park. It's very going to be a very, very emotional time. But again, it's a great space that people can meet. They don't have to meet at a cemetery. They can meet in a walkway and celebrate these angels that have gone too early. But we know that transformation from, that butterfly. And that's why we wanted that butterfly theme, where we're putting plants and flowers and stuff that attracts butterflies. And it's going to be such a meeting place for parents who have lost those ones and can meet every year and on special occasions to celebrate their lives. So thank you for everyone that was involved. I hope it's going to spear off in all municipalities in Canada, because we're very, very lucky that we had everyone come together on this, and including the volunteers at Fireman's Park.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Campbell, as the seconder of the motion.
Yes, I wanted to second that motion as having lost a child. I think it's a wonderful idea, and you can count on Helga and I being actively involved in participating in the whole process. I think it's awesome.
Wayne.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. And to our staff, been terrific, as you guys mentioned, and they're going to get started on it this summer. So looking forward to having this special place in Niagara Falls. So we've got a motion by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Campbell, and a special appreciation from Councillor Strange and Pietrangelo for bringing this forward. If there's no further discussion, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 6.5, sign bylaw amendment. We've got 3 recommendations on the agenda. Councillor Thompson.
Yes, thank you very much. This has been a long journey with respect to this. About a year ago, I was called by the auto body fellow on Bridge Street near the train station, and he asked about who we would get in touch with at the region to see if his property would be important for the development. And I called the region and got in touch with the fellow, and we got into a discussion about the extension of Thorlstone Road right down to Bridge and Victoria. And he says there's going to be a circle that created there, right? And he asked me about some of the people there and that he would contact. And one of them was the people who own the Kimberly Clark. And everything was going, the extension was approved, the circle was approved, and everything has been going very well. But at the last minute, there was a billboard on the property that had to be moved. And so I was in touch with Larry Van, and he's going to be the next speaker. He's on the phone for this here. And we approved it at the last council meeting to move that sign out of there. And we have a full complement of signs. So it had to be take one out to put another one in. And this is going way out on Thorlstone Road on the north side past Garner Road on the Walker Industry property. And we've been working on this to pull it off, and there were some concerns about it. And Mr. Van said he has the flexibility with walkers to move this 150 feet so it doesn't impact on any residential. It's an illuminated billboard sign. So, and it cuts off before 12 o'clock. And we have one house that was concerned about it, but if you look on your agenda, the house is 88 meters or 288 feet back from Thorlstone Road, and the sign can be moved 150 feet. So it shouldn't be any concern to anybody. It's a sign that's been certainly approved and investigated by the staff. And I think I've said enough, and I'll make the motion for approval. But Larry Van sign, I think, is there, and he would be responsible to answer any questions.
Mr. Van, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of council.
Good afternoon.
So any questions that you have, I'd be glad to answer.
Do we have any questions of council? Councillor Strange.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Larry. You know, we approved this and I'm all for it. We just had one email, and I think a lot of councillors received calls from Josephine Kalkavakia that lives pretty close to where the sign is going to be. And she was saying that her bedroom is actually, when she sleeps at night, she's going to see that flashing sign like she thinks it's going to be like the Kenny Rogers chicken from Seinfeld. So I just want to make sure that you can have conversations with her and that it's not, going to affect her right to live and sleep and have this bright sign in front of her. So, I'd love for you to meet with her, and hopefully you can come up with some compromise.
Wayne Camp.
And put that sign.
We just lost Mike.
Where it's not going to affect her as well. I just wondered if you can meet with that family and residents. So, I couldn't imagine if I lived there and someone's want to put a sign in front of my window to go to sleep. And Wayne Campbell actually emailed her back and said they could put it 150 feet away, but I haven't heard back from Josephine to make sure that that's okay. So maybe we can refer to staff and you and to make sure that everyone is happy about this.
And the house is 288 feet from the road. And the sign is going to be more than 35 feet from the property line away from the road. Larry, can you respond?
Yeah. Well, the setback that the region has is 10 meters, which is approximately 34 feet. So we're going to go 35 feet back from the property line. And then you're right, it's 88 meters from their property, the people to the south of Thorlestone Road. So moving an additional 150 feet to the east, I thought was a compromise. So I talked to, I communicated email with Alana Walker from Walker Industries this morning, explained the situation. And she said, well, can we move it to the east? And I said, well, that's what I was, wanted to tell you, that we could go 150 feet. And she said she's fine with that, just to contact the farmer who farms that land. And I talked to that person early this morning, and he's fine with it going at that location, the new proposed location. So everybody seems to be on board. But yeah, I could stop by and talk to the owners there.
Okay, we have got Councillor Pietrangelo. You wanted to say something?
In our signs, we can shut that down at 12 midnight. We can control that. And then obviously we do dim them. We have light sensors on them, and we dim those, when it gets dark out.
Okay, Councillor Pietrangelo.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. And we all appreciate the situation that Mr. Van finds himself in the sense that his sign at the corner of Victoria and Bridge has been eliminated because, based on public improvements, there's going to be a large turnabout there. So we do recognize the fact that there needs to be a sign relocation. I fully support that. My only wish was that I would have been given some type of map. And I know that there's a map on there, but it's really not that, it's not that detailed. Like, it doesn't show anything that in my opinion, would give me a good, concept of, where the house is, where the sign is going. That's my only comment, Your Worship. I think council will support, the sign going out there. It just would be nice to see the location of it and how far away it is going to be from the resident.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I appreciate that too. I know maybe, just a gentle suggestion to our planning staff that these maybe make a lot of sense to planning staff, but maybe not to the average person in public. When we're visual, we need to see what it's going to look like. It would be helpful. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we approve the sign and that Mr. Van make contact with the Colavecchia and make sure they're satisfied with that.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion? Do we have a Councillor Strange, Campbell, rather?
I would like to second that, but I find it a little awkward if they don't agree. And we pass a motion right now that says it can be moved. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
250 feet and the house is back 288 feet from the road, and there's all trees in front of it. So it's not going to be a concern to them.
Well, if it's not concerned, let's have Mr. Van contact them with what is going to happen.
That was a motion.
No, that's not what you made. And if they do agree, then we can make it happen. But there's no room in there if we make the motion to move it.
Okay,
If they
thank you for that.
disagree.
So,
Okay, got you. Councillor Strange?
Well, I'm just suggesting, can we maybe defer this so we can actually see it on a map, and then that Larry Van can get together with staff and the neighbor and come with a compromise and agreement. It probably isn't going to be a problem, but I would hate for someone to put something there and then it is a problem for. So, defer it to the next meeting and to get counsel. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for a couple of weeks, if that's okay.
Councillor Thompson, so you're the one that made the motion. Can
you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, Larry, we can hear you. Did you want to
The
speak?
Niagara region, they want me to sign off on the sign down at Victoria Avenue. They've been wanting to sign off for a couple of weeks now. We've been putting them off. They keep giving us deadlines. And I told them, along with the property owner, the Rudans, that we had this meeting here on the 23rd. So what do I do with the region? Because, they want to get moving on the project.
Hey, do we have someone that can help?
I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just telling you what's going on.
Right. So can we, maybe staff, I don't know if Mr. Hurlovich can help us out on this here because of the little dilemma. He wants to sign off on one and be assured he's going to get a follow-up location. So I don't know if you can maybe help us out on this one.
And then also, say I do meet with the property owners and they're not happy for whatever reason, worst case scenario, then what do we do?
Well, that'll be up to council to deliberate if that happens. So we'll have to go through the process. So, Mr. Hurlovich, did you want to weigh in on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The location of the sign is not really what's under debate. It's whether or not the sign can be 100% electronic. So we can put the sign wherever it's agreeable to the Colavecchias. So, to Councillor Thompson's motion, he's saying to have Mr. Van check with the Colavecchias and see whether moving it 150 feet east would satisfy them. And so if they're satisfied with that, the sign can be relocated. What we're debating is whether or not it should be 100% electronic. And of course, that's the part that's going to impact. So, so where it's located is not the issue. It's whether it's 100% electronic. And one of the suggestions was made was that by Mr. Van was that it could be shut off at midnight. That wasn't part of the motion. So maybe that should be part of what is offered to the Colavecchias so that their night sleep is not disturbed.
I made that comment in my discussion.
Yes, I didn't hear it in the motion, but thank you.
Okay, we've got Councillor Iannone.
So how do you guarantee to them that that's going to go off at midnight? Is it going to be an automatic time? Some keep saying we can turn it off at midnight. Will that be automatic and not something they have to come back to us for after the fact? Because once it's up, it's going to be pretty hard to move. And I can't imagine that being something that would impact you because that's permanent.
Mr. Van?
It's on a timer, electronically timer. yes. Like a lot of our signs are, so.
Okay.
And so if it's not being turned off at midnight, what is their recourse?
I haven't had any problem with any of my timers, if, so far. So if a timer goes bad, then we replace it.
And Mr. Van, when you go see them, or if you've seen them already, did you give them your contact information?
No, I haven't talked to them at all.
So when you do, will you give them your contact information in case that becomes a problem?
Well, of course I will. Yes, I'll give them my business card. They'll have my email. They'll have my cell phone, my office phone, all that. I'll even give it to my IT guy who controls everything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll give them everything.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Strange?
Yeah, I've just been, I don't know Josephine just by email, but she sounds like she's been there for like 40 years. So I don't know if she's asleep by midnight, but if it was in front of my house, half midnight would be no problem. But in front of her, I'm not sure. So maybe if there'd be some contact, even if it was like, okay, can you put it at 11 o'clock because I can't sleep because this digital flashing sign in front of me. She was pretty upset about that. She's been there for a very long time. So I just want to satisfy her and satisfy you as well, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor, can we approve it in principle pending him speaking to her?
Yes, that's the motion.
Mr. Clerk, how would you weigh in on that? Weighing it in on principle? Or Mr. Lustig?
I'm not sure if Mr. Lustig's at his camera, but the way I see it, it is up to council. Council has the authority to put a time restraint on that motion.
Mr. Lustig?
Yeah, I agree. You could do that. You could make the approval conditional on whatever you want.
Okay.
So what is the motion right now?
Hey, folks, I need everybody to mute their
terrible
lines.
echo.
Because everyone's got their lines unmuted. You have to mute your line until you're ready to speak, please. And then we'll be able to deal with this a lot easier. Much better. Okay, so go ahead, Councillor Campbell.
I guess my question is what is the motion right now? I didn't hear anything about conditional or anything like that.
Okay, so Councillor Thompson, are you suggesting approve the recommendation subject to the satisfaction of the resident that we're speaking of here? Is that what you're suggesting?
That's fair enough. Yeah. I would make that the motion then.
Okay, I got Councillor Dabrowski and then I've got Campbell.
Just to that motion, what would be the consequence, I guess, if the resident's not able to work with Mr. Vaughn on a resolution? Would we just be back in the same situation? I just want to make sure that we're efficient with our time.
Maybe Mr. Lustig, did you want to help us through this one here? You are the clerk.
Yeah, so if it was as proposed by Councillor Thompson, if the resident wasn't satisfied that the approval would lapse, it wouldn't be effective any longer.
Okay, then we'd have to deal with it again here.
Yes.
Here. Okay, Councillor Campbell.
I would second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Campbell, that we approve in principle the 3 recommendations for the sign relocation, subject to the how would we say it? The support of the resident. Do we name them specifically by name? So just to clarify the name, I don't have it in front of me.
Colavecchio.
Colavecchio. Okay. Subject to the satisfaction of the Colavecchios. That's the motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion to that? Okay.
I just want to make it very clear. What we're talking about is the downtown, the extension of Thorlstone Road. And if this doesn't happen and that we get the sign out of there, we have a problem. Anyway, let's go.
So it's all about the sign relocation. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Okay. Did everyone vote for that? Sorry, did I got that right? We had a few delayed hands go up, yeah? Okay, everyone was for it. Oh, no, Councillor Dabrowski was opposed. Okay. All right, thank you for that. Moving along. Item 6.6, proposed zoning amendment to implement the transit station area secondary plan. We have two recommendations on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I have a conflict, so I
Yes.
guess I have to log out.
Yes, and then I guess we'll contact Councillor Lococo. Will somebody contact Councillor Lococo when we're done? Yes, okay, Councillor Iononi will. Thank you. Councillor Pietrangelo.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I just wanted to say, I don't know if staff are going to be providing a bit of a presentation on this agenda item, but we continue to get some correspondence in regards to, I guess, the issue of, placing this new bylaw downtown. And I think there's a lot of people that are looking forward to this bylaw coming in. And then there are a number of people who are saying that it's going to, I guess, be a step backwards. So I want to be clear in the sense that, I want planning staff to be very clear. I know when we update bylaws, typically we cannot take away the rights that property owners had. We can only layer on top of them. And I just wanted some type of presentation from planning staff to let us know that, we're not actually taking rights away from property owners that are in the downtown that hold land right now. What we're doing is we're adding more rights on top of that in terms of, larger developments, densifying, things of that nature. So I want to be correct in what I'm saying, and I was kind of hoping that planning staff would give an overview of exactly where we stand on this.
Hey, Mr. Hurlovich, can you help us through this?
Is the mic on?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We weren't prepared to do our formal presentation as we typically do because this is not a public meeting under the Planning Act. So the report that's before you tonight basically addresses the various concerns that the various parties submitted to council. And so we do step you through that. With respect to Councillor Pietrangelo's last comment, to address the concerns of those residents who said that we were taking their rights away, we've added to each of the new 6 zones that are being created for the downtown a clause that basically says, notwithstanding the regulations, a use which lawfully being carried out on the date of passing of this bylaw, or the erection of a use or building or structure to a maximum building height of 12 meters, which is the current limit under the CV zone, shall be the subject of regulations 8.5.2a. And 8.2.5a are all of the existing zoning regulations that they enjoy now. So Councillor is correct. We're affording them all of the privileges that they have as of today, and we're extending that by allowing them to have higher densities, to have higher buildings, and to have greater coverage than they have now. We do have one comment from a Mr. Burdett on Bridge Street, and certainly looking at the plan today, he's in we're basically implementing a secondary plan that was approved by council in 2018. So he basically points out that part of his property is zoned CB1, part of his property is zoned CB4, and part of his property is zoned CB5. Because it is a mixed residential or mixed use zone, there wouldn't be a problem if he wants to have all of his lands zoned CB4. We can extend that to him since they are contiguous properties, and a portion of the property is CB4 now. So we could give him what he wants, and we would have a schedule which I can supply to the clerk and insert it in tonight's bylaw, which is on your agenda.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Pietrangelo, you still have the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. And I just simply wanted to say thank you to staff for explaining that, and thank you to staff for including, I guess, the extra wording that goes to show that the landowners are not losing their current rights.
Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Great point.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I should have also introduced that since the time of the public meeting, we have introduced for the 14-story and 20-story buildings some setbacks for the tower portions of the building. So if you think of the Hatch building next door to City Hall, where the building goes up so many floors and the building steps back. So the higher the building, the higher those setbacks are. The greatest setback would be 10 meters, which is about 30 feet. And those would be for the most dense of the buildings. To give council some idea, we require 12.5 meters between towers in the Fallsview district. And so this is less than what we would require in the CB zone. So we did make that adjustment to provide for separation between towers. And that is one change since the public meeting.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hilovich. I've got Councillor Iononi.
I just want to make sure. So in the bottom of Mr. Burdett's letter, it says and he gives us his map, and it says, I cannot allow my property to have 4 zones on it. That is just not acceptable in any situation. Your wording changes all that, so that's not going to happen at all.
So to Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, we're actually doing 2 things. So he will enjoy all of the current zoning provisions through that wording that I read, but we will also adjust Schedule 2 to the bylaw, which is in the council agenda. And we will adjust Schedule 2 so that all of Mr. Burdett's property is in one zone. And that zone would be the CB4, which is what his letter asks for.
Alex, has anybody contacted him and told him that?
No, I just received the letter today. I think he circulated to council today. And so it's definitely up to council as to whether you wish to endorse that, but we can accommodate that request. And so we will advise him tomorrow if that's council's will.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Thank you. So Mr. Hilovich, so will we need to add to the recommendations to include that for his property for all 4 being put onto one zone?
That would probably be a good recommendation so that I can supply the addresses to the clerk, so we can reference it as the properties belonging to Mr. Burdett be zoned CB4 on Schedule 2.
Okay, great. So we're looking for someone to make a motion. Councillor Pietrangelo?
Sure, I'll make the motion, Your Worship.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, second by Councillor Iononi, that we move the 2 recommendations and also add the third part that Mr. Burdett's properties all be classified as CB4, Schedule 2, and with the addresses to be added in afterward. Is that right, Mr. Clerk? We're good there? Okay, and now, Mr. Hilovich, you okay with that? That sounds okay?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. So if there's no further discussion to the motion, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. That's great. That's great news for downtown. We need to get Councillor Lococo back. Yep, okay, Councillor Iononi's on it. Excellent. So we'll give her a minute to get her camera on and zoom in as we go to the consent agenda, and you guys can jump ahead and let me know your will of council.
Consent agenda.
Okay, we're just waiting for 1 second, Councillor Thompson. Just wait for Councillor Lococo to, here she is. Okay, great. Okay, Councillor Thompson, so you'd like to move the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay. Second by Councillor Kerrio. Any discussion to the consent agenda? Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous that we move the consent agenda. Let me just roll down here. Moving on to communications and comments of the city clerk. So we have several. First up, 8.1, resolution from the city of St. Catharines regarding living wage certification application. And the recommendation is that we refer this to staff. Councillor Lococo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will put the motion forward, and I also spoke with Mr. Trent Dark. He said he could give an update on how ours is going. So if we could have Mr. Dark give that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, great. And that's seconded by Councillor Iononi or her dog, one of the two. Okay. Okay, so we've got motion. Any other discussion to the motion? Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.2,
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. I meant that Mr. Dark would give an update right now.
Oh, now. Oh,
yes,
I'm sorry.
I did speak with him. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. Mr. Dark, are you available? There you are.
I am, through the chair. Well, I'm hoping to get this report to council for April 20th. That was my goal. And it's been fairly easy, or will be fairly easy to do the cost pay impact to payroll for our full-time and part-time staff. You'll note from the St. Catharines resolution that they estimated the cost to be $566 for their full-time and part-time staff. And I think in our case, it's going to be much lower than that, but I will confirm that for our April 20th meeting. The difficulty and the challenge so far I'm having is getting to that level 3 designation and getting the information, because it's we're trying to estimate the cost of the external contractors that provide services to the city and what the impact on the tendering process is going to be. And these are private companies, so they don't have to disclose this type of information. So it's tough to do that. That's been the big challenge so far. And you note in the St. Catharines report, they don't really do a cost estimate either of the level 3. But we're doing our best. There's a handful of municipalities that I understand have achieved this designation. I'm still trying to get information on which ones actually have gone to level 3. So that's where things stand right now. And I'll have a further report to council for April 20th.
Councillor Lococo, you're good?
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Dark.
Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Kerrio.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just a quick question. So when we get into this about the outside workers and contractors, are we supposed to ask them to open their payroll books so we can prove what they're paying, or how do we know if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, Mr. Dark?
Mr. Dark?
Through the chair, I mean, they would have to voluntarily disclose that or on their billing or something, but obviously I don't think that's something they would have to tell us, or their private companies. But, I guess if they volunteered that information, we could get that, but I don't think they're under any obligation to do that.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments to Mr. Trent's comments? No? Okay, good. So we've already voted. Yes, we did. Okay, great. So we'll move along. Thank you for that. Item 8.2, there's a resolution from the city of Sarnia regarding the provincial color-coded capacity limits, and the recommendation. Okay.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Thompson, that we support their motion regarding the provincial color-coded capacity limits. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Item 8.3, resolution from the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake supporting the wine sector. The recommendation is that council considers supporting the
Move the recommendation, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Thompson, that we support the town of Niagara Lake supporting the wine sector. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.4, Niagara Regional Council motion regarding the COVID-19 economic recovery. And the recommendation is for the information of council. We've already supported this prior, so the recommendation is that we receive. Councillor Campbell, and seconded by Councillor Kerrio, that we receive the report. All those in favor? Okay, and that's approved. Thank you for that. Item 8.5, long-term care crisis in Ontario. There's a letter from CARP, Canadian Association of Retired Persons, expressing concerns about long-term care crisis in Ontario. The recommendation is for the information of council. And what's the will of council?
So moved, Your Worship.
Motion by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Strange, that we receive the report. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.6, we have various correspondence from the Niagara region. It's for our information.
Receive and file.
Motion by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Kerrio, that we receive the correspondence. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Item 8.7 is a letter from the Chippewa Public Dock Committee asking that the group be dissolved and its corporation concluded. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, this has been a great committee and created a wonderful atmosphere on the creek with the docks and everything. And I was on the committee for several years, and they did a wonderful job. In fact, I think at the end, they had $17,000 left over, and they've turned that over to the city. So I think we got 17,000 to put towards trying to expand the beauty on Chippewa Creek. I would so move. And send them a letter thanking for their years of wonderful work.
Second that, Your Worship.
Okay, I've got motion by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Campbell, that we receive the letter and send a letter of thanks. I've got Councillor Kerrio to speak to it.
Thank you, Your Worship. I noticed in the letter, there is a list of their names. I don't know whether there should be just even a little plaque down there. A group that does what they did, then donate $17,206 to the city. I think we should recognize them in some little way. If there's a little plaque down there with their names on it, I think would be much appreciated to them, and remind everybody that wants to start a committee that we expect them to do the same thing as they did.
Okay, Councillor Pietrangelo.
Yeah, I'll second Vince's motion. I think it's a good idea, Your Worship. He's right. They should be recognized.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so we didn't vote on the first motion yet, did we, Mr. Clerk? Okay, so can we first vote on the first motion?
Sure.
All those in favor? All those in favor of the first? Okay, thank you for that. And then we've got the second motion recognizing all the members, moved by Councillor Kerrio. And all those in favor? And that's approved as well. And that was seconded by Councillor Pietrangelo. Can you? Okay, item 8.8, final report, code of conduct complaint regarding Councillor Kerrio and Bitter Kerrio. What's the recommendations?
Receive and file, Your Worship.
Okay, motion by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Dabrowski, that we receive and file. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.9, investigation report, code of conduct, DeLuca Iannone, recommendation for the information of council. Councillor Iannone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to tell council that was probably the most degrading thing I ever had to participate in. I had to justify why I felt the way I did. I was asked to out men who I thought were misogynistic and sexist. I was asked to give examples. it was a horrible experience. And I'm just wondering, this is why women don't say anything. And I think that Mr. DeLuca's filing just proved how broken this is. A while back on the agenda, we had the code of conduct on the agenda for an amendment, or we were going to tweak it. And we referred it back to staff, and it's never come back to us. I think we need to sit down and take a good hard look at our code of conduct. I've noted tonight that we've had to tell you your button was muted a few times. I feel your pain. And I want to say it's everything is not always sinister. Sometimes it's just a screw up. But that I just want to say, as a woman telling you, having to answer Mr. DeLuca's questions were degrading. But I participated because I didn't think I did anything wrong. But can somebody tell us when the code of conduct is coming back so that we can take another look at it?
Mr. Todd or Mr. Lustig, or who would be able to help me out on that one?
Mr. Mayor, it'd be Mr. Dark.
Mr. Dark. Okay. Mr. Dark or Mr. Clerk, whichever one wants to talk.
Mr. Mayor, I'll review the motion, and we'll bring that back. Bring that back to the April or May meeting. But I just have to refresh my memory on what the motion was and what we're intending to change on the code of conduct.
So
I was just going to ask the clerk, if he could comment. Yeah.
So what we'll do there is we will discuss this at our next council review meeting. We'll establish a timeline as to when that's going to come back. I know we're currently in the process of kind of moving the code of conduct complaints out of the legal department and into the clerk's office. But between senior staff, whether it be legal, HR, and clerks, we will work on a report and work with the Integrity Commissioner as well on updating our code of conduct.
Okay, so I'm going to speak for myself and Lori, so nobody has to ask her to speak on this. If I'm, have her speak. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm trying not to have my dogs bark because I have to be unmuted. We do not want to feel anxious, worried to participate in a meeting, worried that we are going to be made feel small or stupid or unimportant or not worthy of participating in things that belong to in the city, or just not, we clearly are not, I don't want to use that. We clearly are sitting on the outside. Nobody should even say that's not the case. And we hate it. And I can't imagine anybody else likes it. I can't even get an email answered from staff. And that is extremely humiliating. To emailing questions and get zero response. And then send it again and get zero response. So we have a bigger problem, and I think we really need to have some sort of session or something to fix this. Because we don't like it, you don't like it, the residents don't like it. We need to fix what's broken. So that's all I wanted to say on mine. It was an experience and a half. So I will move to receive and file.
Okay, motion by Councillor Ioannoni, seconded by Councillor Kerrio. I know you've had your hand up. Did you want to speak to this, Councillor Kerrio?
Yes, Your Worship, I did. I understand that it makes people uncomfortable, but I also feel uncomfortable because having been involved with politics and business for a long time, people don't agree, whether it's a personality issue or we have different points of view, or we just sometimes don't like each other. I don't know what it is, but I don't ever feel like anything that I've ever said was said because I know it. I've never said it because counselors, the other two counselor are women. If I don't like what they said, or I don't like what they did, or whatever, I mean, it's not because they're women. It's because I don't agree. I think she's right. We need to get to the bottom of how do we go back to just fighting normally without throwing those awful names at each other. Because we used to be able to disagree, actually sometimes scream and holler and whatever, but there's just a certain line you just don't cross. I don't feel that I've ever treated anybody differently because of their gender or their race. I'm not suggesting I've always treated them great, but that's politics. And I know Councillor Iannoni, and many times I know she's got a thick skin. She's a tough competitor. She's not afraid to say what she thinks and the way she feels like it. Maybe the code of conduct needs to be addressed so we don't have to feel so sensitive. But I think the men on council feel the same way. And I can only speak for myself. But anything I've ever said or whatever, it's not because you're a woman. It's not because if I don't agree or whatever, we're not getting along, whatever. It's not because of gender or race. To me, it's politics and business. That's all I really have to say, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Kerrio.
Mr. Mayor?
Councillor Iannoni. Yep.
And here's the thing. You can't control how we feel. You may believe that something you said was innocent or fun or not insulting or not made us feel small or not made us feel, but you don't know how we feel. You cannot, we've told you how we feel. We didn't say it to make you defensive. We're saying it because that's how we feel. Those are our lived experiences, Vince. We didn't point a finger at anybody. It is clear we're broken. So we're telling you that is honestly how we feel. And it is horrible. And having you tell me, no, that's not how I should feel is part of the problem.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kerrio.
Well, I have to disagree because, Councillor, I'm not telling you how you should feel. I'm telling you the way I feel, and I'm telling you that I'm not saying anything or arguing whatever or taking the position I take because of your gender. I'm not. So, I mean, if you want to say that you don't believe what I'm saying, that's your prerogative. And I don't say that you're not feeling the way you feel. I don't know how you feel. If you say you feel a certain way, you feel a certain way. I'll accept it. But then you should accept the fact that I'm saying that this is politics. It's a hard game. And if we argue or don't agree, it's not because of your gender. So I don't know what else to say. I can accept your position. But if we're ever going to resolve this, you have to accept our position or my position. I mean, others can speak for themselves. But I've had thousands of women work for me in my business career. I've never had a problem with women ever in my life. So I disagreed with many different times. We don't all agree, but I've never had anybody say that to me before. So I guess it's just something I mean, it'd be like, anyway, I accept your position and how you feel, but you have to accept mine. I'm not saying it for that reason. And I don't really want to get back to have to pussyfooting around. It's like I said, I want to be able to say what I want to say. I don't want you to think that way. I mean, if you do, I can't help it, but I'm not saying it to offend you in that way. Or Lord.
Thank you for that.
And Mr. Mayor, this is why I think we need some sort of, it's a different time. It is how we speak to each other and how we interact with each other 25 years as much years ago, because most of us have been on here together that's the thing, we've been on here together for 25 years almost, most of us. And we could joke and say things or make comments that you cannot make now.
Yeah.
And my daughter reminds me, I have habits I have to break. And when I say something insensitive, she's pretty sure to tell me, when she teaches psychology, sociology, trust me, it's not good to live with a sociology professor. But we're in a different time. And I would like to see more women run for council. And that's not going to happen in the atmosphere that we have now.
Okay, thank you. We got Councillor Lococo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say that the Niagara This Week article was very timely because it's been happening all across the region, the country, internationally as well. And it was part of a 4-part series. It was important for me and Councillor Iannoni to express our opinions. Those were our opinions. And as Councillor Kerrio said, those are our opinions. He has his opinions, and let's move forward and keep that in the back of our mind to move forward, that we do have biases that sometimes we do not realize that they're there, and let's have a conversation. I have brought up about some sort of mediation. Team building has been brought up. I think it's an excellent time for us to do that and to understand each other. It's really important for us to move forward, and it's not just on this council, it's all over the place. So it is a very important time.
Thank you for that. And also, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that Councillor Pietrangelo brought a motion at the last council that was approved, that we are going to be working toward a team building. I have to say, we spent time together as a council yesterday, and I thought it was very civil and respectful, and it's the way it should be. And I agree with both sides. I agree that we don't know your lived experience. We never can. And also, you can't guess what someone means when they're saying something other. You have to accept when they tell you how they feel when they said it and what they meant by it. So I think it's a meeting of halfway. We both have to come halfway if we're ever going to meet in the middle. So I think having the discussion is the most important thing. I'm glad we're having a discussion, and we've got plans to do further team building, as the motion Councillor Pietrangelo made. We've got Councillor Strange.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it is a different time. It is a new time. And I believe we are making steps towards that, where we've included 2 more committees with Wayne Campbell and Lori Lococo leading them. So I think we are addressing some of those issues to go forward.
Yep. Okay. So we thank you for that. So we've got a motion by Councillor Iannoni, second by Councillor Lococo, that we receive and file item 8.9. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item 8.10, Board of Management for Downtown Business Improvement Area. There's a letter recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, I have a conflict.
Yes, okay.
So should I shut down again?
Just receive and file, Your Worship.
Okay, so just stay there. That's good.
That.
Motion by Councillor Kerrio, seconded by Councillor Dabrowski, that we receive and file. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that, with one conflict. Item 8.11, Women's Brain Health Day. So the recommendation is council support the request to eliminate the falls in purple on Thursday, December the 2nd, to recognize Women's Brain Health Day. Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Iannoni. What?
Oh yeah, because I'm laughing because any woman, I can't. Sorry.
Okay, you're laughing and you seconded it, so we're good. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved. Thank you. Item 8.12, flag raising request for Meals on Wheels. They're requesting that the first week of June be Seniors Month in Ontario, that we raise the flag in front of City Hall. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Lococo. Did you want to speak, Councillor Lococo?
Just very quickly, I know in another council meeting, we talked about a report from staff to come back with some suggestions about flag raising. Not that I'm opposed to any of them that are on the agenda. I just wondered where the report was and when we should expect it.
Maybe we can get an update from, who would that be, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, through the mayor, staff will be working on that report, and it's hoped that it will be brought forward in the next meeting or two.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sorry, we made, Councillor Kerrio?
I was just going to move the Italian one, Your Worship. I thought it should be either me or Vic.
Well, did we finish? Did we vote on the other one?
Yeah,
okay.
we did.
Okay, we still have to vote on the Meals on Wheels request, so all those in favor? Okay, that's approved. And we had a motion and second, right? Yeah, okay. Councillor Kerrio.
I move the next one, Your Worship, the recommendation for the flag raising of the 11th anniversary of the Italian Heritage Month.
Okay, that's moved by Councillor Kerrio, seconded by Councillor Tomasino, that we raise the flag on June the 4th for the National Congress of the 11th anniversary.
He's a one.
Of the Italian Heritage Month. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.14, flag raising request for Haitian Day, and that would be on Tuesday, May the 18th. And also, further, this motion would be that we ask the Illumination Board to approve their request to light up the falls in the Haitian colors of red and blue on the 18th of May.
So moved, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, second by Councillor Campbell, that we support the Haitian request. All those in favor? Okay, and that's approved. Thank you. I had a nice discussion, by the way, with the ambassador from Haiti. Very nice conversation. Moving along to item 8.15, proclamation request, World Pancreas Cancer Awareness Day on Thursday, November the 18th.
Mr. Mayor, as a pancreatic cancer patient, I would like to move that.
Okay. Motion by Councillor Iannoni, seconded by Councillor Strange. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you for that. Item 8.16, proclamation request for Apraxia Awareness Day on May the 14th. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 8.17, illumination of the lights for Parkinson's awareness on behalf of Steve Ludzik on Sunday, April the 11th. Councillor Strange.
Yes, I'd just like to speak with that. You know, Steve Ludzik, and we all wore his shirts last council meeting, Ludzik Strong, and he's having a really, really tough time right now. He needs our prayers and our love for him and all his family, Marianne and Steve and Ryan and the grandchildren. And we got this request, and you know what? Ludzik was an unbelievable hockey player, but what he's done outside that is made him, you know, elevated him to such an awesome Hall of Famer, you know, in and on and off the ice. So I like to add this, that we can maybe possibly call this the Steve Ludzik Parkinson's Day for our city, because it's so important. I know a lot of people want to go down there, take some pictures, and wish him luck. And pray for him, and we're all there with him. We really are. So I think it's something that he deserves, and I would like to move that we name the Steve Ludzik Parkinson's Day here in Niagara Falls.
Okay, motion by Councillor Strange, seconded by Councillor Iannoni, that on Sunday, April the 11th, we call this Steve Ludzik Parkinson's Awareness Day. And we request the Illumination Board to turn the lights red on the falls in honor of Parkinson's and Steve Ludzik. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Resolutions. So I see we've got one resolution, Mr. Clerk, a tall building setback, our minor resolution. So you've got your resolution in there. Basically, Mr. Herlovich, did you want to just explain this really quickly?
Mr. Mayor, I have a conflict on this.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. So the resolution basically speaks to the change in the zoning that I addressed a little bit earlier, and that is that there's an additional setback for the high-rise portion of the buildings that would be erected in the transit area zone for the downtown. And so that's basically to say that that was a minor change from the time that we introduced this at the public meeting, and that no further public meeting is needed on this element.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're looking for a motion to approve the resolution. Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Kerrio. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. So we should get Councillor Lococo back on. Somebody could let her know. We'll just wait for 1 second. Councillor Kerrio?
Your worship, we get our clerk to get a ruling on why we would have to get off a Zoom call. It's not an in-camera meeting, so normally you don't have to leave the meeting. Can we find that out if we have to leave the meeting? Because I haven't been leaving the meeting when you were voting on something I declared a conflict on. I don't know if we really have.
Mr. Clerk, what's our procedural bylaws say to that?
So through your worship, the procedural bylaw, when it speaks about conflict of interests by councillors, it does suggest that if there's any discussion, whether that be in camera or in open meeting, that the councillor should leave the room. In this case, you could just leave the Zoom call, as you've seen Councillor Lococo do. As we saw just a few moments ago, when Councillor Lococo declared a conflict on a particular matter, there was no discussion. There was only a vote. Therefore, she didn't need to leave the room. So I appreciate you bringing that up. It's just could serve as a friendly reminder to council members.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Bylaws. No, in camera. I'm sorry, Mr. Clerk, ratification of in camera.
Yeah, so actually a couple of ratifications. As the mayor stated, council did meet yesterday. That was approved by resolution at our last council meeting on March 2nd. And the ratification from that meeting is just that council directs staff to continue with necessary steps involved in the CEO recruitment process. So we'll have the mayor call the vote on that first.
Move that, Your Worship. Do you need a motion, Your Worship? Do you need a motion? We can't hear you, Your Worship.
Yes, we do, Councillor Pietrangelo. Would you like to move that?
I'll move the motion.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Iannoni. All those in favor? Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Clerk.
And then secondly, council did meet in camera earlier this afternoon. All direction was just given to staff for various matters, including direction to staff to proceed with the expression of interests received for the use of the McBain Community Center, and also that council directs staff to continue with litigation proceedings as they pertain to steel rail development. And as noted, everything else on the resolution that was approved was just for direction to staff.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Your Worship, I just realized with that, my wife is the chairperson for Heart Niagara. That was discussed in camera, and I did declare a conflict of interest, and I'm declaring a conflict of interest right now. Thank you.
Yes, you did.
I'll move the motion, Your Worship.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Strange with the conflict declaration by Councillor Campbell. We'll call and Councillor Lococo? Yes, and Councillor Lococo. Thank you for that. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Bylaws.
First, second, and third, Your Worship.
Okay. Motion by Councillor Pietrangelo to give the bylaws a first, second, and third reading. Seconded by Councillor Lococo.
That's the one that I have the conflict on for 2021-40 regarding the transit station.
There won't be any debate, Your Worship.
There won't be any debate, so you don't have to go anywhere. We'll
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that was moved by I'm sorry, who seconded that? Councillor Strange. Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's approved on the bylaws. And so now we move on to new business. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Pietrangelo.
Nobody else?
You're always good. We know you're always good. And then we got Councillor Dabrowski.
All right, I'll start, Your Worship. I guess the first item I wanted to bring up is, you remember when the region moved to every other week garbage pickup? I don't want to go back to debating that, but the primary goal of moving to every other week garbage collection was to increase the rate of diversion, which means that they want people to use their blue box more, they want people to use their gray box more, and they want people to use their organics more. In other regions, Your Worship, they have what's known as a gold box program. And the gold box program is, I guess you get bestowed a gold box if you're seen to be a super recycler. I know you always brag about being a super recycler, so I hope you're going to have a gold box if the region approves this. But Your Worship, it's a very cost-effective program in the sense that it can't cost more than $5 for a new bin. And the region does issue them right now when people either move into a new home or if they need another bin, then they issue them one because they want to promote recycling. And that's the whole part of it. If they're going to increase diversion rates, it would be great to have some program that really highlights it. I can see gold boxes popping up on streets and people having a conversation over them. You know, it instills a sense of pride as to, oh, how did you get that gold box? Well, you know, come to happen, I'm a super recycler, right? And we do have other programs like that in the city. We have the Sparkle Awards, where people take pride in, you know, how they decorate their homes at Christmas time. We have the Spooky Awards, where people take pride in how they decorate their homes on Halloween. We have the Trillium Awards, where people take pride in how they landscape their properties. So it would make sense that we do something that would help to promote diversion. So I don't know if Mr. Nickel is on the call. Oh, he is. Mr. Nickel, do you have any ideas as to how we can, I guess, promote this to the region or get it to that level so that perhaps it's a program that they adopt?
Mr. Nickel.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. I think the first step would be to have that discussion with the region.
I'll push that. That's chaired by Mayor Ugolini from Thorold. So sounds like a neat, fun kind of way to get recognized for being a super recycler.
Yeah, I think Hamilton has a program right now, and so does Windsor. And I'm not sure about any other areas, but it is out there, Your Worship.
All I would want is, it should come with a cape, and I'd want to see you fly through the neighborhood with your cape, a gold cape. So, all right, so we've got the motion seconded. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. As Councillor Thompson plays Dick Tracy for the rest of us here, talking into his watch.
Just waiting for the shoe phone to come out.
Yeah.
Hey, who showed him? Somebody must have shown him where the mute button was.
We did it from our end. We did it here. IT helped us out. Okay, Councillor Peter Edgy, you still have the floor.
Thanks, Your Worship. If I could just indulge Council for another minute. I wanted to talk about the lands in between, like the city owns Fireman's Park, which was a fantastic purchase on our part. I would imagine it was the largest parkland purchase we ever made. And then right next to that is the old dump that the region owns. And then right next to that, that borders Mewburn Road, is more city-owned land. And right now, part of the Bruce Trail goes from Dorchester Road over to Mewburn Road. Your Worship, I'd like to see, and I know I've mentioned this before, but somehow we have to connect with the region and do a master plan for the whole of those lands, in the sense that it would be a phenomenal place to have a number of different trails, whether they be for walking or running or even cycling trails. I can see dirt trails, I can see stone trails, perhaps not asphalt trails, something that's a little bit more natural. If anyone has ever been up to the top of the dump lately, and I know it sounds odd, but you really have to go up there to see the view that you get. It's incredible. There's a picnic table up there, so someone must have discovered the top of the dump, because it really is an amazing view. Your Worship, again, I'm going to ask Mr. Nickel if he can comment on this, because I know the region used to have an end-use plan for the dump, and I don't want to ask the region to give up ownership of the dump, but I honestly believe that, the city is in a position where we can be stewards of all that land, and we can have one big master plan that would look at encompassing those 3 properties.
Okay, and I'd also like to add, just before we ask Mr. Nickel to talk too, and I remember there being a master plan from the 90s. I think it was Monteith Zelinka, maybe that did it, regarding all the plan. There was talk of soccer pitches and whatnot. And also to mention, I've been at the top of that hill many times, and the view is spectacular. The smell's not as spectacular. It's got a nice methane smell up there, but definitely it's a real unique spot. Mr. Nickel, did you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to the councillor. The region is moving forward in a short-term time frame, so under the next 5 years, on finalizing their end-use plan for that landfill site. And the lands to the west near Mewburn Road are attached to that as a bit of a buffer area to that site. So the end-use plan the region needs to prepare is a plan that's submitted to the Ministry of Environment that describes how it's going to be managed for a long, long period of time. What the city can do, and what we actually intended on doing, is partnering with the region to enhance that land use plan. So the land use plan at a minimum needs to address the environmental concerns, but we have the opportunity, just as the councillor mentioned, to enhance it, to bring landscaping to the site. And we do have plans. We just need to wait for an opportunity to include in our budget the preparation of the master plan, which will dovetail with the end use plan. So I'm anticipating that as early as next year, we'll have that in our budget, or potentially the year after, and we'll move forward together in a partnership with the region to see that implemented.
Councillor Virangelo?
Yeah, just a question, I guess, through you, Your Worship, to Mr. Nickel. Would that be something that you could, I guess, report back to council so that we can at least adopt something so that we have it maybe even as a 5-year plan? I wouldn't expect that it would be something that would be done instantly, because I understand that, you know, there still has to be some monitoring of the old dump. But old dumps around the province do turn into very passive parks. So it's not an uncommon thought to think that it would be incorporated as part of a park. So I'm just wondering if it would be possible to bring that back so that council could actually approve a report that would set that into, like I said, a 5-year plan.
Mr. Nickel?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, we'd be happy to do that. It'd be helpful for council to see where we were, where we're going, and the steps and approximate costs we need to do that. And I'd be happy to take that direction through motion in this from today's meeting and come back in the near term to give you all that information.
Okay. Your Worship, that's great. I would love to make that motion, because I think it's something that would really be an added feature to not only Fireman's Park, but all of that area there, is to add more trails and more amenities to that.
Okay, and I saw Councillor Campbell, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I'm a council representative on the regional trails and bikeway. And I would hope that we can include as part of that motion that we involve them, because they're in a huge movement to finish off the intertwining and interconnection so that the entire peninsula is interacted in terms of trails and bikeways.
Great idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Greater Niagara Circle Track, right? The whole thing goes along the Welland Canal and along the Lake Erie. Okay, that's great. So, okay, so we got you're seconding it?
Second that with that addition, please.
Okay, and that's friendly to the mover, so you're good with it, Councillor Pietrangelo? Yep,
yes.
Okay, great. And then we've got Councillor Strange.
I was going to second it, but I'm just a little upset at Councillor Pietrangelo for giving mine and Councillor Kerrio a secret spot over the dump there. We used to look across the escarpment. I would bring the bottle of red wine and he would bring the super sot. So I guess it's given away now.
Sorry, Councillor. I don't want to know anymore.
We got some laughs here in the chambers too, so that's good. Okay, so we've got a motion by Councillor Pietrangelo, second by Councillor Campbell, that we ask Mr. Nickel to come back with a report on perhaps a 5-year plan on redevelopment ideas around recreation, and include the regional trail committee as well to be brought into the discussion as well. So we'll call that vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Councillor Pietrangelo, do you have any more new business?
I do, but I'll wait till next meeting, Your Worship.
Oh, thank you. I've got Councillor Dabrowski, then Lococo.
Who misses winter? Does anyone miss winter?
Miss Winter?
Show of hands. Winter. The winter season.
Not at all.
No, not at all. No, just something quickly. A number of residents, it was a light winter, I would call it, but a number of residents, my daughter's crying in the background, sorry, expressed their concerns about a snow clearing program here in the city of Niagara Falls. I received a number of phone calls, emails, a ton of social media posts I always see. Whenever we get a snowfall the next morning, we see posts about sidewalks not being cleared. And to my understanding, the current sidewalk snowplow route, which covers, I believe, roughly about 1/3 of the city sidewalks, is established at the end of the season. And that's why I'm bringing it up now in advance of the annual review by staff. And to my understanding, there's no current bylaw that would require residents to clear their sidewalks in front of their own properties. And I think other municipalities across the region do have bylaws that, in fact, require residents to clear their sidewalks in front of their properties. And I'm wondering, and they also have programs that might assist people who aren't able to clear their sidewalks in the winter months when there is a snowfall, whether it be through an application or a fee for service. But either way, wondering with our city obviously experiencing super rapid growth, growing population, growing development, which is great news. I'd like to see staff come back and provide us maybe with the current streets and routes on the existing sidewalk plow list and the rationale for those streets that get added to that route. Again, with the new population coming into the city and added development, I like to get an understanding of how that works and if there are requests that come into the city, how those get handled. So I'd like to make a motion and maybe we can look into a bylaw and requirements for property owners to clear their sidewalks. And maybe look at exploring or establishing an option with an application process or fee for service, like I said, for those residents who aren't able to clear their sidewalks. So I'd like to make a motion and request that staff assess the current sidewalk snow removal program and maybe come back to council with a report that includes the current program details and some other options for snow removal across the city and just look at best practices across other municipalities in the region. And I know it's early, but our staff works round the clock. We don't go to sleep in the spring and summer to plan for the winter. So I thought we can get a move on this sooner rather than later.
And Councillor Dabrowski, I think it's timely. I mean, I know it's spring officially, but I hate to jinx us to say that we're done with our snow. I won't even say it then. I'll just throw it out there. But are you including then any requests? Because we do receive a lot of requests for certain extensions. That'll be identified and weighed out by staff in this report as well?
Exactly. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, that's great. Motion by Councillor Dabrowski. Councillor Strange, are you seconding that?
Yeah, I'll second that as well. And I think there was a program through the schools as well for some of the elderly in the city that, if they could get help with their sidewalks, the students would go there and get volunteer hours. So maybe we can look into that as well and add that to that report.
Yeah, that was a Snow Buddies program that we had at one time.
See if it's still involved.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
And to that point, with the addition of the Seniors Advisory Committee here in Niagara Falls, maybe that's something we can bring to that committee as well. So I think we have a lot of time to plan for it. So yeah, I'll leave that motion on the table and looks like we have a seconder. So.
Okay, that's great. Is there any other discussion to the motion? Councillor Campbell.
Yes, Your Worship, for what it's worth, when I first got on council many, many years ago, I brought up a similar motion and I had to backtrack by all the negative comments that I received with respect to dictating to property owners the necessity to clean off city property sidewalks. So I look forward to the report when it comes back, but I want to put that out there because there's a lot of people out there that have a sense that, hey, it's not my property, it's yours, it's the city's. Why are you dictating that I have to clean it off? Just for
okay, thank you for that. I know I've seen twice that we've dealt with that, and I'll say at the same time, there's a good number of residents who are under the impression that we have a bylaw. Because I've said to people, and they say, "Oh, I thought it was," because a lot of other places, Toronto, Hamilton, St. Catharines, they do have a bylaw, and they move here and they assume that we have one. Thank you for that. Councillor Thompson, and then back to Dabrowski.
I was going to make a joke, but I'll let Councillor Thompson move on.
I think we've had this come up at least a couple of times in the past, and Niagara Falls has a high level of seniors and people who could not go out and shovel a sidewalk in front of their house. In fact, probably can't do it. And the negativity and the reaction in the past, I was supportive, but I backed off. So going to see what happens as a result of this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Strange.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's really important maybe to reach out to those high schools who need those hours and, pick those houses. Maybe there's some kind of process where, the elderly can't do it themselves. It's like cutting your boulevard too. Nobody's going to cut their lawn and not cut their boulevard, right? Which belongs to the city. But, if they need some help, I think the Snow Buddy program is a good way, especially now with Corona and the high schools need to catch up on their volunteer hours. I think it's a good way that they can volunteer and help at the same time.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, well, if there's no further discussion, we've got the motion by Councillor Dabrowski and seconded by Councillor Strange? Yeah, it was Councillor Strange. Thank you. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous that we ask for that report. Thank you. Councillor Dabrowski, do you have any other new business?
A motion to adjourn if nobody
else.
No,
we got Councillor Lococo next, and then we'll look for one, hopefully.
My apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of meetings ago, Councillor Iannone talked about a land acknowledgement, and I know that the mayor said that we were working on it. On the past weekend, I was watching a podcast, One Dish, One Mic, and there was a lady named Miranda Black on it, and she has an opinion piece, which I would like to forward to staff. It says, before you state a land acknowledgement, mean it. And she talked about how a lot of the land acknowledgements just basically say we're on the traditional territory of, and a lot of times the words are pronounced incorrectly, and it doesn't really talk about the people that are here in the community and what it means. So I would like to forward this. Who would I forward this to that was taking care of the land acknowledgement?
If you'd forward that right to the clerk, if you would.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other new business? Okay, motion for adjournment. Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Dabrowski. All those in favor? All right, folks, have a great night. Thank you very much for your time.
Night all.